Hope so you all are doing well. Okay, so let's start the story. Without any further conversation, the whole house is so busy as today. The off park family is going through. Everyone is so happy at its their dream to come true. She is going to with Mrs. Park's sister son. When Yoongi is not as but he have the every of his life. He don't talk with anyone much, but he's so kind person. He stay with his mom. His Mrs. Min have a good bonding with Leah, younger brother, who is none other than Jimin. But Jimin is just 19 years old, so the thing to do Leah and Jung. Right now, also they all in the venue. Everyone is talking and laughing with each other until they come and stand in front of Yoongi. Yoongi didn't said anything. Should we start? He said and asked, and Yoongi nodded. Parklia, did you accept? Min Yoongi, he asked, and Leah is silent. Everyone see her. Parklia, did you accept? Min Yoongi, he again asked, and Leah is silent. Mrs. Park come and stand beside her. Mrs. Parklia, they are asking from you. Wait a minute, yeah. Leah, they are asking from you. Said something. Leah, what I said? I said, Mom, when I am not ready. She whispered, Mrs. Parklia. Parklia, did you accept me, Yoongi? Leah, no, I don't. She said, and everyone eyes widened. They all see Leah and become shocked. Leah, yes, Dad, someone, and I am already with him, so I can't him. Mr. Park, Leah, how can you do this? Leah, you guys don't listen me. It's not my ask from mom. How many times I try to tell her, but she don't listen me. So what I do now. Mr. Park, who's the person? Leah, he come back London today. It's been 2 months we are. She said, and everyone shocked. And then someone come. He is looking so cute, and he see everything with confused face. Trying to process the things what happens here. And here he see Mrs. Min. What happens? His voice is so soft. Hold Jim in hand, and Jim on the. He make Jimin stand in front of Yoongi. Mr. Park, him, my son, he said, and Jimin eyes widened. Jimin, Dad. Mr. Park see Jimin. See Jimin don't know. Jimin don't know what's happening. He see his mom is and Mrs. Min. He don't know what to do. Mrs. Min, please. She said, and Jimin sign as no, like he don't said please, like she don't said please. He see his sister stand on the side. He don't look at Yoongi. Mr. Park talk with Park. Jimin, did you accept me, Yoongi? Jimin look at his parents and Mrs. Min. Jimin, I do. He said, everyone sign in real life. Min Yoongi, did you accept Park? I do. His voices called Jimin. Don't look up. So from him as Yoongi is so you both may now he said, and Yoongi went toward him, he on his hands, and everyone start clapping. Jimin look at his parents who tell them everything, and Jimin see Yoongi who's looking at him. Jimin, you did Rana, you play with he whispered to his sister Leah, you him, huh? It's enough. Mr. Park, from here, Leah, Dad, we talk later. Mrs. Park come and stand in front of Jimin. Jimin make about Mrs. Park as son. Jimin, no, auntie. Okay, so he called Mrs. It's okay. She smiled and begged Mrs. Min as son, but we know you can handle everything. We believe you. Jimin make a pouch and nodded. What he do? How can he stay with Yoongi? It's not like he Yoongi. But nothing else. Yoongi stays silent. He don't say anything. He don't even look at Jimin. With Jimin, he don't talk with his sister. Jimin enter in the room. And Jimin enter in the room. He see the room is Mrs. Min. Come and smile to see him, Mrs. Min. Jimin auntie, Mrs. Min, come, son, sit. She sat and Jimin sit with her. Mrs. Min holds his hand. Mrs. Min, what happened, Jimin? I know it's not so easy for you to accept all this, and I promise to you, my Yoongi, don't you for anything, Jimin. I know Yoongi is so understanding. I ask for from my Nana's side. Mrs. Min, it's okay. I am not at her also, but today you are Jimin. No, don't such. I am feeling for him. Mrs. Min, Jimin, remember one thing. Him to anyone remember. She said, and Jimin nodded. Mrs. Min, goodbye. This is what I am expected from you. Jimin nodded. Jimin, I will try my best to make everything fine. Mrs. Min, good. Now take some rest. I said, Chungi. She said and left the room. Jimin, it's so far he have to with Yoongi. How can he do this? He started to think and sit silently. Just after some time, Yoongi entered in the room. Jimin see him. He stand up. He don't know how can he. Whenever he see Yoongi, he becomes so wild. He is like this. He is thinking this when Yoongi see Jimin. Jimin see he is looking at him. He looking down. Yoongi went toward him and Jimin up his lashes. He see him. Yoongi take rest. He said and take the and from the couch and go Jimin. So far he sees Yoongi go and Jimin sit on the couch sign in real life. Jimin, huh? What was that? He think and wait for him. After some time Yoongi come out. He see he see Jimin again stand up, but he again sit. He don't know what to do. Yoongi, you want something? Jimin eyes widen as he heard Yoongi voice is not his voice is normal. Yoongi, you want something, Jimin? He said and Jimin nodded. Yoongi, what, Jimin, huh? I don't have my he said and looking down. Yoongi, wait. She opened the wardrobe and took out the Yoongi, it's me, you, but spend the time. I do something in morning about your he said and Jimin nodded. He take from him. Jimin, thank you. Yoongi, no problem. He sat and on the couch. Jimin see him. He go and come out after fresh up. He see Yoongi, you sleep on the bed. Jimin nodded and she on the bed. Yoongi. He see Yoongi close his eyes. So he sleep on the couch. Jimin think Angie close his eyes. He don't order. How can he, huh? Jimin feel he's thinking and then the lights suddenly gone. Jimin sit on the bed. Yoongi open his eyes to hear the voice. Yoongi, what happened? Jimin, I feel he almost whisper and Yoongi see him. He went He went toward him and sit on the edge. Yoongi, I kept this light here. You sleep. Jimin sighed as no. Jimin, I still. Yoongi, I don't know when the lights come. Jimin see him, and then he looking down. Jimin, can you sleep here? I feel to know you are here. He almost whispered, and Yoongi here. He sees Jimin is looking so cute, and Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, alright. Jimin, the light also. Yoongi nodded. He placed the light on the on the table and on the bed with some. He see Jimin also. Just some minutes pass. His eyes is closed as he about to feel. He about to sleep when Jimin holds his hand. He know how much Jimin feel hmm, from him. From him, Yoongi kept his eyes closed, and then Jimin holds his hand. And after some times, when Jimin sleep, uh, softly he open his eyes and see Jimin. He is feeling that much. He never think he and also sleep. He don't disturb Jimin's sleep. Yoongi don't change it for Jimin. And next morning, Jimin is the one who wake up first. He holds Jungi hand. He sit on the bed and Jungi open his eyes. He also sit on the edge of the bed. Both sit on the opposite side as Jungi because of the same uh, position. The lights also come. He don't set anything and go for fresh up. He come out and Jimin see him. He's looking. The door knocked. Yoongi opened the door. Mrs. Min, good morning. Yoongi could speak. Jimin, good morning. He said happily. Said happily. Yoongi started to adjust his hairs. Mrs. Min, sleep well. Jimin nodded with a smile. Mrs. Min, here is your. I brought this for your birthday gift, but for now you take this. Your mother said she sent you till evening. Yoongi stayed silent and Jimin nodded. Jimin, thank you. It's so good, Mrs. Min. I am glad you like I make the breakfast and come out. She turned to see Yoongi. Mrs. Min, where? Yoongi, I am going to do breakfast. I do breakfast today with my friends. Jimin say him he don't. He go for fashion. He think Yoongi call auntie and said no to her. Don't send his. I take him on the shopping and also on the dinner. But for now I need to go. I do the Mrs. Min nodded with a smile. Mrs. Min, okay son. As you said, she become happy as Yoongi said. He take Jimin out. Jimin come out after fresh up. Yoongi Jimin. Jimin turned to see him. Yoongi, I am going out. I come in sometimes. If you want something, call me. Jimin nodded. Jimin, okay. Yoongi, take care. Jimin smiled and nodded. He go. Jimin come out and see Mrs. Min is in the living room. He sit with Mrs. Min and she smile. Mrs. Min, wait, I bring breakfast here. Jimin, we watch movie with breakfast. Mrs. Min, good idea. Jimin smile and she go in the kitchen. Jimin start to find a movie and then when she come the Mrs. Min, Yoongi don't said anything, right? Jimin, he don't know. You know what's the shocking thing? He talk with me normally, His voice is not cold, and there I understand he is not that. Mrs. Min chuckled. Mrs. Min, he is not, and soon you both for each other also. Jimin, who knows the reality? She said and start to do the breakfast. It's evening when the doorbell ring. Jimin open the door. He stopped to see Yoongi. Jimin is looking at him. Yoongi, you give me way to enter in the home now. He said, and Jimin nodded. He take his steps back, and Yoongi enter in the house. He closed the door and see Jimin, who's looking at Yoongi. What happens? Jimin, uh, and sure he understand. Jimin want to said something. Yoongi, you want to said something? Jimin sign as no and then nodded. Yoongi say, Jimin auntie and Yoongi. Oh yeah, I totally forget. about that. This is what you want to set his shoulder. Jimin, it's fine now. He said and Yoongi see him. Yoongi, be ready. I take you on shopping. Jimin, huh? Shopping? Why? Yoongi, why? We do shopping. Jimin, I have everything. Yoongi, oh, you have to. He raised his eyebrow and Jimin nodded and then sighed as no. Yoongi, be ready in 5 minutes. I am coming. He said and go. Hmm. They come come mall and now walking. Jimin looking down and walking. He don't know he about to with someone when Yoongi holds his hand. Jimin look up and he realized he see Yoongi. Yoongi, be careful. You okay? He asked and Jimin just nodded. He held his hand and take him in the Yoongi, whatever, take whatever you want, he said, and Jimin started to go through the dresses. Yoongi see the dresses, he then pick up the one. Yoongi see this. Jimin say it's beautiful. Jimin, it's beautiful, but I can't this at home. Yoongi buy this also on some other function. He said and look into another side. Jimin see that dress and she smiled. Jimin, okay, Yoongi, stay here. I come back in 10 minutes. He said and Jimin nodded. Yoongi go from there and Jimin start to see that after some time Yoongi come. Yoongi, you done? Jimin, huh? Yeah, Yoongi, you just take this. He asked as Jimin just shows Jimin, it's enough. Yoongi don't answer him and he start to find dresses from Yoongi. It's enough. I don't want more. He stop as Yoongi do his shopping and Jimin smile. He can see that is good. After some time, return Yoongi, let's go. He for him and then they both go. Hmm. Okay. Out Jimin, this is really it's really too much, Yoongi. I don't need this much dresses. Yoongi don't give him reply. And Jimin could speak. He see his sister is coming with someone. Of course, her. Yoongi don't notice Leah. Jimin stop. Yoongi see him. Yoongi, what happens? Jimin, nothing. I am feeling hungry. He said. Then Yoongi nodded. He take him in the food court. Jimin take juice and they go home. Jimin don't know, but he don't want Chungi see his sister. Okay, now Jimin is so it's Jimin right to be like this. It's night when it's night when Yoongi is doing work on his laptop and Jimin arrange everything in wardrobe. Yoongi, when your university start? His voice is on the laptop when he asked. Jimin sit on the bed. Jimin still 1 month left. Yoongi, Jimin see the see the time. Jimin, it's late. Yoongi, just some more work. He said and Jimin nodded. He stayed silent for sometimes. Jimin, can I make coffee for you? Yoongi look up and see he really want the coffee but his son has no. Yoongi, no need. I said mom if I want. Yoongi, no, she is taking rest. I make coffee. He said and stand up. Yoongi, you sure? Jimin come with the cup of coffee he give to Yoongi. Yoongi, thanks Jimin, no problem. He said stand there being nervous. Yoongi, the coffee or not? Yoongi, take a sip. He's really Yoongi, it's good. Jimin smile. Jimin, really? Uh, thank you. He said, being happy, and Yoongi nodded. He feel happy to see Jimin is happy. Jimin on the and he see Yoongi is the coffee and doing work. Jimin, can I ask you something? Yoongi asked. His eyes is still on the laptop. Jimin, you normally also do work on laptop at this time. Yoongi, yeah, I do. Jimin, don't Yoongi, no, Jimin, don't you become tired? Yoongi, I am used to now. Hmm. If I said, no, Jimin, just last. Yoongi asked Jimin, you, Nona. He said, and Jimin, see him. Yoongi, stay silent. Stay silent. For some time, Jimin, I cut off by Yoongi. Yoongi, I don't. Jimin, see him. Jimin, you don't. Yoongi, I don't hurt. No more questions and sleep. He said, Jimin nodded. He hid his face and sleep. Yoongi, see him. Yoongi in mind, yeah, I don't. Your sister. It's just whom I from the very first day. It's you. It's been a 15 years. You, Jimin, and I only know how much I am happy to get you. I just want you also become, and then I will spend a life together. I am happy. She said no for, and I get with you. Hmm. Next day, Yoongi go office early as usual, and it's evening. It's his time to come home when Jimin and Mrs. Min sit in the living room watching TV. Jimin, auntie, why her is so? Mrs. Min, I don't know. Jimin, you also treat me like this. Mrs. Min, no way. You are my. Jimin smiled to see her, and they both in the door know someone is knocking the door from 15 minutes. Yoongi enter in the room. Okay, so he have a keys. He stopped to see Jimin and Mrs. Min watching TV, and he see them with John face. Jimin, see, I told you she's something in her tea. And what happened, Jimin, Mrs. Min? How I know, Jimin? If she watches, Mrs. Min could speak. She stopped to see Yoongi. Jimin turned. He see Yoongi, who was seeing them with turn face. Jimin, you come? He said and stand up. Yoongi, I knocked the door from 15 minutes. Were you both busy? Jimin, it's auntie who sent me to watch the TV. Mrs. Min, you suggest me. Jimin turn and see her to stay silent. Yoongi, you both are too much. Jimin, I bring coffee for you. Yoongi see him and he run in the kitchen. Yoongi signed to see him, and Mrs. Min smiled to see their Yoongi go in the room, and Jimin is making the coffee. She is happy to see all this, and after some time Jimin also go in the room. Hmm, 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 hmm. Jimin come in the living room with coffee. He placed the cup on the table and turned his eyes widened to see Yoongi. Yoongi see Jimin. Yoongi, when you come, Jimin hid his face in his palm. Jimin, just now, Yoongi, you can see now. Jimin, see him. Jimin, your coffee. Yoongi, coffee. Don't you want? I do. I do dinner. Jimin, first coffee. Yoongi, I need food also. Just not coffee. He said, take a two sips from coffee. Go from there. Jimin, make up out. He sit there and drink coffee. They are doing. I do. They are doing the dinner, and Jimin is pouting as he's trying to process. He adds cheese, oil, noodles, or the eggs. Yoongi see him and sign. Yoongi, if you are done, do the dinner also. Jimin, okay. He and now trying to eat with a pouch. Yoongi take his plate and arrange everything. Mrs. Min smiled and she continued to eat. Then Yoongi gave him back. Jimin started to eat happily. Mrs. Min, your mom called me today. Jimin, why? I mean, what she said. Mrs. Min, she said your sister and they do her. So she invited us. Jimin, I don't go. He said while eating. Yoongi see Jimin. Mrs. Min, why? Jimin, stay silent for some time. Jimin, I don't want to see her. Mrs. Min, she is your sister. Jimin, she is to me. He said, and Yoongi just stay silent. Mrs. Min also stay silent. Mrs. Min, it's your decision, but I said you it's good if you go. It's not like because of her. You live so many events. Jimin nodded. Jimin, I think this about this. Auntie, he said and smiled and nodded. Only 10 minutes to it's over left. Third last scene. Finally. Hobby, leave a comment on post. Jimin come out. Come out. Cyber did I then. Jimin come out when he sit on the bed when Yoongi places his laptop on the side. Yoongi, why you don't want to go? Jimin, I don't want to. Yoongi, be honest with me. Jimin, I am saying truth, Yoongi. I don't want to go just not because she did what with you. She don't care about family. If she's someone she can tell properly. Why is she with someone's feeling? And moreover, I am at my parents. Why they her? I will surely ask my mom. Any hesitation? Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, I do. I don't feel to tell everyone you are. If you do, I can't say anything. Jimin, I never. He said that. Yoongi, see him. Yoongi, be ready tomorrow. I come early. Jimin smiled and nodded. Jimin, I am going just because you said. Yoongi, okay, boss. Thank you, he said, and Jimin smiled. Jimin make a pout and Yoongi chuckle. Jimin become more happy as Yoongi smiled. Yoongi sleep now. Jimin nodded and he on the bed. He also sleep. They both see each other and sleep. कितने मिनट दा? Good, good. हाँ मेरा भी नहीं सी 35. हाँ second last scene. Jimin is Jimin is totally ready to go. हाँ मेरा 30. This is first time he do the makeup. He's feeling how can Yoongi react when what happened? He see his dress. It's the same Yoongi for him on that day in the mall. It's peach colored dress, so elegant and simple. Jimin is shining in this and a little makeup jewelry. Jimin is looking like he come from. He stand in front of the mirror when the room door opened. Yoongi enter in the room. He stopped to see Jimin. When Jimin turned, he looking down. Yoongi to see him. Jimin, he is looking so beautiful. To say he forget the Jimin see how Yoongi is at my cheeks turn. Yoongi, trust me, if the distance of the being is not I right now, he said. Jimin left Yoongi looking. He said and Jimin see him. Jimin thanks. Yoongi, there is one thing left. Jimin watched. Yoongi went toward the drawer. He come with us. Hmm. He come with an open. Jimin see a beautiful pendant. Jimin, it's so beautiful. Yoongi, this is for you. I don't know how to give you, but I think it's the best time now. Jimin, thank you. He smiled and Yoongi nodded. Jimin take the pendant. He stand in front of the mirror. Yoongi, he asked, and Jimin just nodded. Yoongi come and he take the pendant from him. He see the pendant. Jimin and but it's not. It's pure. Yoongi, let's go. He said. Then Jimin hold his hand and Jimin smiled to see their hands, and then they both go. Yeah, Yoongi is so sleepy, literally, guys. Hmm. Last scene. Finally. Hmm. Soon they reach. They reach. Soon they reach on the venue. Jimin see everyone, and the first person who come to meet them is his father. His father, who come and Yoongi, Mr. Park, thank you so much, son, for coming. Yoongi, no, uncle, how can I don't come when you call me? Mr. Park, this is what I about you, son. You are so kind. Jimin smiled. He's feeling so happy to see how much Yoongi gives respect to his parents. Mr. Park, Jiminy, how are you? Jimin, I am fine. Mr. Park, my is looking so beautiful, huh? Jimin, thank you, Dad. Mr. Park, okay, so you both meet with your mom, Yoongi-san. I want to talk about you for something. Then come there, okay? Yoongi nodded and he go. Hmm. So, Yoongi, Jimin, I am there. You call me if you want something. Jimin nodded. Jimin, okay, he said, and Yoongi go from there. Jimin is talking with his mother and meet with the guest. Yoongi is talking with Miss Roman when they both hear the whispers. Lady Jimin is looking so beautiful. Lady two, yeah, I think he's so happy. Everyone, how can he don't, huh? You don't know how much Yoongi is kind and caring person. I am happy for Jimin, you know. He is my favorite and today he is looking so beautiful. Mr. Park chuckled. Mr. Park look like everyone is happy you both got Yoongi. We are also happy. Mr. Park, thank you so much. I don't know how to say thanks to you. It means a lot. Hmm. Yoongi Jimin, I am a lot. Yoongi, no uncle. I am also like your son. Mr. Park, you are my son. The is continue. Jimin's sister is sit on the with his and he don't go meet her. Jimin stand there with about Yoongi. What happened, man? Why you are standing here like this? Jimin look up and see Yoongi. Jimin, my shoes and I don't know how to tie them. In how Minu do this? Huh? Yoongi, that's not a problem. I do, he said, and Yoongi, he sit in front of him and start to tell him. Everyone becomes shocked to see his sister also shocked. Mrs. Sparks smiled to see them and with seriously last scene and the third last text. Hmm. Oh, so much emotions, Leah. Don't you do? You do this for me, Jack. Never. He said, and Leah see him. Yoongi stand up. Yoongi done. Jimin smile. Jimin, thank you. Everyone starts clapping. Jimin look at everyone. Jimin, why they are clapping? He whispered to Yoongi. Oh, you both are so cute. Yoongi, alright. I think they thought us as cute. Jimin feeling looking down and everyone go at their cuteness. Jimin is his sister as he will it's her but no one is looking at her. Everyone is focused on Jimin. After some times Jimin and Minnie eat some a little bit. Jimin, I don't want to. Yoongi, I already tell me. Okay. So last scene and the second last text could speak and come. Leah, you even forget the huh? How? Why don't you come to meet Jimin? Because I don't want to, and I remember my man as well. Leah, you Jack. Leah, don't be. He's my cute brother. Jimin roll his eyes. Jimin, I eat pizza. Yoongi again. Jimin raised his eyebrow. Jimin, yeah. Leah, see that totally her. Leah, you are looking beautiful today. Jimin, thank you, Nona. I know. Wow, amazing. I know. Leah, even your pendant is so beautiful. Jimin, thanks, Leah. Oh, don't you give this to your sister? Jimin, no, I don't. Your is so can't you even a pendant for you? Yoongi looking down, he don't know Jimin is that much. Jack, if I want. Last and last check. If I want, I can shop for her. Jimin, dude, don't you feel you is asking me to give her a pendant? He don't say anything, and she go from there. Jack also go. Jimin look at Yoongi. Why so? Jimin, I heard Yoongi chuckle. Yoongi on pizza. Yoongi, okay, okay, but eat this also. The again start. See you soon in the next part. Bye. Finally.